This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning, Rabbi Glatstein. The Yom Tov of Shavuos is fast approaching, and we're going to begin by discussing a halacha which is relevant really to all the Yomim Tovim, and that is the Gemara says in Masechta Rosh Hashanah, Daf Tezayin Amud Beis, Amar Rabbi Yitzchak, Chayiv Adam lahakbil pnei Rabbi beregel. One is obligated to go greet their Rebbe on the Yom Tov. Shneimar, like the pasuk says in Malachim, this is what the husband of the Isha Shunamis says to her. Madu ad hoylechas elav. Why do you need to go to the Navi Elisha? Loi chodesh hayom. Loi chodesh. Today is not Rosh Chodesh. Loi Shabbos. Meklal de bechodesh v'Shabbos yiboyla lamezel. So we see from here that on Shabbos and on Rosh Chodesh you're obligated to go greet your Rebbe. Now it's interesting. Rabbi Yitzchak never said you're obligated to greet your Rebbe on Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh. He said you're obligated to greet your Rebbe on Yom Tov. But the source that he brings it from is from the husband of the Isha Shunamis, who says to her, why are you going to the Navi? Today is not Shabbos or Rosh Chodesh. So the first thing we need to understand is, number one, why? Why do you have to greet your Rebbe on Yom Tov? If it would say, well, you need to learn Hilchas Yom Tov on Yom Tov, Moshe Tiken Lahem LiYisrael Sheyu Shalom Adarshim Minyanei Shel Chag B'Chag Shenemar Vayidaber Moshe Esmayad Hashem Al Bnei Yisrael. So I would understand, you have to go greet your Rebbe, otherwise how are you going to learn the halachas? But it doesn't say that. It sounds like even if the Rebbe is not giving shiur, there's a specific obligation to go welcome and greet your Rebbe on Yom Tov. Why? What is unique about Yom Tov that there is such a mitzvah? And number two, is this halacha standing today? Does this halacha apply? Because for some odd reason, it is not brought down in the Shulchan Aruch. Nowhere in the Shulchan Aruch does it say that there's a halacha that on Yom Tov you need to go greet your Rebbe. So that's the question.
Can I ask you a question? Where does it say Chodesh and Shabbos?
It doesn't. It doesn't. So that's part of what we asked. That Rabbi Yitzchak only said Yom Tov, but the source that he's bringing it from is munning her. Today is not Shabbos, today is not Rosh Chodesh, which is Mashma, Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh, you do have to go. Okay. There's another Gemara in Sukkah, on Daf Chav Zayin Amud Beis, Tanu Rabbanan, Maisa beRabbi Eloi, Shahalach lahakbil pnei Rebbe Eliezer, Rabbi Belud, Berega. Rabbi Eloi went to greet his Rebbe, Rebbe Eliezer, in Lud on the Yom Tov. Amar Eloi, Eloi, Eincha mishoyv say harega. What are you doing? You don't rest on the Yom Tov. In other words, you're supposed to stay home on Yom Tov. You're not supposed to go out and about. Shahay Rebbe Lezer Omer, Mishabeach ani es hoatzlonin. I praise the lazy people. See, even lazy people have accolades sometimes. Why? Shein yoitzin mi bateyan berega. They don't leave their homes on Yom Tov. Lazy people. They don't leave their homes on Yom Tov. T'chsiv, v'samachta ata ubeisecha. So Rebbe Lezer asked on Rabbi Eloi, why are you coming to greet me? You should be at home on Yom Tov with your family. So Gemara asks on Rebbe Lezer, Eini, but it's not true. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak minayin shchayv adam lahakbil pnei Rabbi beregel. The Gemara in Sukkah says, cites what we just learned in Rosh Hashanah. How do I know you have to greet your Rebbe on Yom Tov? Shenemar, Madua ad hoylechas elav hayom l'chez v'Shabbos. Meklal de v'chodesh v'Shabbos mechayv v'nishtak b'lo p'rapei Rabbi. Loi kasha, ha da'azav v'asa b'yamei, ha da'azav v'loi asa b'yamei. Depends if you could make it back home the same day. If you can make it back home the same day, you should have to go greet your Rebbe. If you can't make it home the same day, if you're going to have to stay overnight and not be with your family, then you should not go greet your Rebbe. And he was going to Lud. He traveled all the way to Lud, so it was an overnight stay. He's had to stay over in the Howard Johnsons on the way, on Route 7. So, but
you should go Erev Yom Tov, or you should go on, let's say, on...
You could go whenever you want. You have to say hello to the Rebbe on Yom Tov.
On that...
On Yom Tov. But provided that you could get home the same day. So, there is a famous tshuva here. A tshuva of the Rabbi Yehuda in Chelek Tinyana, Arachayim, Simin, Tzadi Dalet. The amazing tshuva of the Rabbi Yehuda. And this tshuva of the Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Cheska Landau, who, by the way, was a physically impressive individual. He was the tallest man in the generation. He was Meshichma Ilamala Gavaya Mikala Am. Rabbi Elazar Flackles, his Talmud says he was the tallest man in the generation, and his thumb alone was twice the size of anyone else. So that might explain the Shiurim of the Rabbi Yehuda. But the Rabbi Yehuda was a very, very tall person. But as great as he was physically, he was even greater spiritually.
How long ago from home?
Before you were born.
Okay.
And Rabbi Yehuda was in the 18th century. Okay, so talking that more than 200 years ago. And he says, right? You weren't born then, right?
No.
Right? But Shuvoisav, Meishav Hagoyin, Baal Rabbi Yehuda l'Mechtava, Shal Hagon Rabbi Shaya Pick. So this letter he wrote to Rabbi Shaya Pick in Berlin. Shaya Pick was the one of the contributors to the side of the Gemara. He made Hagoyis on the side of the Gemara. He said, Sha'amar al kach shehatur v'chena shulchan aruch hishmitoi esdina shorab Yitzchak. The Shulchan Aruch leaves out the halacha. And if you look in the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah and the Gemara in Sukkah, the Gemara quotes it without any cholkim. Right? When we asked on Rebbe Lezer, what do you mean, why is your Talmud greeting you? But Rabbi Yitzchak said it's a mitzvah to greet your Rebbe. Rebbe Lezer didn't say, yeah, I don't hold to that mitzvah. Apparently everybody holds to the mitzvah. And yet the Shulchan Aruch does not bring it down. But the Rambam does bring it down. The Rambam brings it down. But the Rambam brings it down in a very interesting place. He does not bring it down in Hilchos Yom Tif. He brings it down in Hilchos Talmud Torah, which is also odd. Is it it's a Torah dika halacha or is it a Yom Tif dika halacha? So the Rabbi Yehuda prefaces his interpretation with the following: Rabbi Yehuda makdim l'tshuvas hatzmiya. That was the question we asked. Rabbi Yitzchak said you're obligated to greet your Rebbe on Yom Tif. And what's the proof? Because Elisha said to his wife, why are you going to greet the rabbi? It's not Chodesh, it's not Shabbos. You should have proof in that pasuk. You have to go greet your Rebbe every Rosh Chodesh and Shabbos. So the Rabbi Yehuda says, the Ritva asks this question, the Rabbi Yehuda feels that the words of the Rishonim are dachuk, and therefore he offers the following. You can't obligate somebody to do this. Why? Mishum Masha Amru, Amar Ibai, Amar Rabbi Yanai, Ein Talmud Rashay Lamay B'nei Rabbi Al Shachris V'Arbis. When the Rebbe walks in and out, let's say he walks in and out 100 times during the share, you have to get up every time? No. You're not allowed to get up more than once in the morning and once at night. Why not? Because you can't honor the Rebbe more than you honor Hashem. And you only honor God twice a day. Shema in the morning and Shema in the evening. And even though Kvoid Rabbi Kim Yehei Kvoid Moira Rabcha Kamar Shamayim, even though you should fear the Rebbe like you fear God, but not more than God. And since God you don't give this honor to more than twice a day, one should not stand up for the Rebbe more than twice a day. That's why many people are makbid never to do it, just in case Chas v'Shalom they might do it more than twice. So okay. It's just a joke. Okay. So, what does that mean? Rashi explains, because you're not makabel Hashem more than twice a day. Therefore, if you stand up for the Rebbe morning and night, you can't do it more. So too, that's why you can't obligate someone to greet their Rebbe on Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh. Why? Because since we only go to Yerushalayim 3 times a year to greet Hashem, you can't obligate someone to greet their Rebbe Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh. Then it will come out that they're greeting their rabbi more than they're greeting God. And therefore, even though really you should greet the rabbi Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh, but we can't be mechayiv someone to do that. It would not be right, because we only greet God 3 times a year. V'aflin yoneinu lo yitachin l'chayiv l'kabel pnei rabbi b'chol Shavuos Rosh Chodesh ki im ken yeh kavod rabbi gadol mikavod hashchina sharei eno halach l'sham rak shodah. Now, we don't necessarily hold this way. We hold you do get up for the rabbi every time. Rabbi Yehuda adds, even though there's an opinion that the fact that you get up for the rabbi every single time doesn't mean you're honoring him more than God. But by the way, by a parent, there is such a halacha, and it's actually machlokes Ashkenazim and Sfardim whether you get up for a parent more than twice a day. If I'm not mistaken, Ashkenazim are more lenient than the Sfardim. But Yoidu, they would agree. It's like this. They say our opinion is the fact that you stand up for a rabbi. Okay, it's not. Believe me, it's not the biggest covet in the world. Not doing that much for him. So therefore, don't be afraid that you're honoring him more than you honor God. But they would agree.
The Lashon here is Rabbo. So we get up for a Gadol Ador or
any time of Chacham.
That's not your Rab. You know, everybody I say Rab, right?
Yeah.
So you have your Rebbe. That's Vashteyach, but do it apply to other Gedolim who don't have the status of your Rebbe, or do they all have status of Rebbe, even though you don't interact with them as much?
If they're a genuine Talmid Chacham, they all have the status as Rebbe, I believe. But we hold that you do keep on getting up for the rabbi, but that doesn't mean it's greater than Kavod Shamayim. Okay, but they would agree, everyone would agree, that that's to stand up for the rabbi. But to go to their house and greet them, that you can't do more than you do for God. And therefore, since you only go to Hashem's house 3 times a year, you can't obligate someone to go greet their rabbi more than the Shalosh Regalim. Okay. So it comes out beautiful that Bisman Shabeis HaMikdash HaYakayim, when you would go to Yerushalayim 3 times a year, you were obligated to go greet your Rebbe on the Yom Tov. Why? Because there's a halacha that you need to greet your rabbi on Yom Tov. You can't do it every Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh because then it'll be more than God. But as much as God, you do need to do. But nowadays that we don't have a Beis HaMikdash and there's no more mitzvah of Oilei Regel, then you can't say there's a chiyuv anymore to go greet your rabbi on Regel. Why? Because then you're going to be honoring the rabbi more than you honor God. That's why it's not brought down in Shulchan Aruch. That's why it's not brought down in the Torah. Because it's not noigeya bisman hazeh. Bisman hazeh, you can't be mechayiv anyone to visit the Rebbe. Why? Because then you're going to make the covet of the Rebbe greater than the covet of God. So why does the Rambam bring it down? So this is a very important idea, that there's a fundamental difference between the Rambam and the Shulchan Aruch. The Shulchan Aruch is only bringing down halachas that are noigeya bisman hazeh, arachayim, Choshe Mishpat, monetary laws involving Noshim, Even Ha'ezer, Yaradea, Isser V'Heter, but there's no 5th Shulchan Aruch on Hilchos Kodshim, because the Shulchan Aruch doesn't bring down dinim that are only Nageh when the Beis makes sense. But the Rambam brings down all halachos. Hilchos Beis HaMikdash, Hilchos Avodah. So the Rambam brings down the halacha, they have to greet your rabbi, because that was a halacha Nageh when the Beis HaMikdash stood. Now we still don't explain what the reason for this mitzvah is.
Rabbi, there's the next logical step.
Yeah.
So Bisman Shabbos Mikdash Namakayim, we don't have the issue of Kavod Hashem versus Rabbi. So do we ever have a chiyuv?
No.
Today to be Kavod Hashem?
No. We're talking about a special inyan of covenant, and that is to go. There's a special way to be mechabed someone where you go out of the way and you travel to them just to behold their appearance and their presence. We can't do that anymore for Hashem. So therefore we can't obligate you to do that to your rabbi. Yeah.
There's one by English time. If you went, Oil Regel was a pace.
I mean, let's say, yeah.
You went, if Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, you went. That's
no, there's no Indian. You don't go.
It's not. You wouldn't be able. You wanted to see how the avoid is done, so you wouldn't be able to do it.
You're allowed to go any day. You're allowed to go. The chiyuv on every Jew is only shalosh regalim.
Now, if Chassid goes to his Rebbe for all the Yontaif, and is he doing something over more than because?
No, he's not over, but it's not a chiyuv. He can't be mechayiv. You If you want to go to your Rebbe Bisman Hazeh, you're allowed to go to your Rebbe.
No, because
Let's just say, I'm not going to go to the Rebbe because it would be like an avla to the Rebbeinu Shalom.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting to.
No, this
the guy
is
travels from Israel. He comes in for Yom Kippur. He goes to his Rebbe. So
the Rabbi Yehuda is just saying we can't obligate you to do something, but you're allowed to. You're allowed. He says like this: Nimsa, Im Kain Shabbos on the next page. Shazman HaMikdash, Shahayu Oilem L'Rego Shosh Pamashana Lo Yachul Chayiv L'Hakvu Pnei Rabbi Yosim Mishosh Pamim. V'Al Kain Lamed Rabbi Yitzchak that the Chayiv is only in the Regal, even though yes, Al Pi Musar, Al Pi Dar Cheretz, it would be a nice thing to go on Rosh Chodesh and Shabbos Mikol Makam Chayiv Lo Yitilu B'Davar. You can't obligate you, so that the covet of the Rebbe is not greater than covet Shemayim. But if it's man hazeh, kasher b'avnasin rabim hiskayim banu v'hashimoisi es mikdashechem. But nowadays that Rebbeinu Shalom unfortunately destroyed the mikdash, shafilu b'shas shema mekdushas aleh, and you'll say, and the Shechina is there. So it's not like so you would say, what do you mean? I'm going to go to my Rebbe, but I can't go to Hashem because Hashem's not home. No, it's not the pshat. Hashem's not home. Hashem is home. The Shechina lo yizazah mikoysam haravi. The Rebbeinu Shalom is there. And if I'm not going to go visit the Rebbeinu Shalom, by the way, there are opinions that it's a mitzvah to be oile regal b'zman hazeh. There are such opinions, but that's not necessarily how we paskin. There's definitely no chiyuv, but therefore, if the Shechina is there, and despite this, the only time you're mechuyev to go is with a carbon. We can't place a chiyuv on you. You can't put a chiyuv on the person just to go to greet the Rebbe. Umasha b'Gemara hispal Rabbi Lazar Rabbi Loi Talmido Shabal Haklos Pana Berega V'Shaloi Ein Chamishav Seregel. And the Gemara asks from Rabbi Yitzchak, according to the Rabbi Yehuda, that no more is there a chiyuv to greet the Rebbe. So then why is the Gemara asking on Rabbi Lazar? Right? Rabbi Lazar says to Rabbi Loi, why are you greeting me? You should stay home. And the Gemara says, what do you mean why you should stay home? He has to greet the Rebbe. Why doesn't the Gemara say like the Rabbi Yehuda? That what? Bisman hazeh, there's no mikdash. The answer is because they lived when the Beis Mikdash was standing, and in those days the taka was a mitzvah to greet the Rebbe. Ula asid.
So obviously, must be talking about in Yerushalayim, because the Rebbe was in Yerushalayim, and the Talmud was in Yerushalayim. If they weren't in Yerushalayim, then I suppose there would be no chiyuv.
Apparently, Rabbi Lazar didn't go. He was in Lud. Why Rabbi Lazar was in Lud?
Why wasn't he El Regal?
That was beyond the scope of today's shir.
Maybe it had to do with his life. Shalom bias.
You have to know Rabbi Lazar at a certain point.
Rabbi Lazar was in Lud, and his Talmud has a chiyuv to go to
Yerushalayim, and he has lina on Yerushalayim. But the mitzvah of oile regal is you don't have to be in Yerushalayim the entire yantif. You have a mitzvah to be there.
Shavuos, you don't have.
It doesn't say what Yom Tov it was. It doesn't say what Yom Tov it was.
I know, but you can't do it 3 times because Shavuos, it's impossible.
No, so what you could do like this: you bring the carbon, you sleep over, and then you go. You travel during the day. But so it says the Gemara. So it says the Rabbi Yehuda. He concludes the following: Ula asid in the future, k'sheyivnei hamikdash when the Beis Mikdash will be built, v'shamnala v'nei ra. And we're going to make an appearance. Yachzar achiyav l'kavos pnei rabbi. Then the chiyuv will return. V'lachein hevi Rambam didn't say. That's why the Rambam brings down the halacha. Why? Shekein darko shel Rambam l'havi kol hanoig b'zman hamikdash. The Rambam will bring down all halachos, even halachos that are again when the Beis Mikdash stood. V'gam harif harash hatikai. The Rif and the Rush also were matik this halacha. Kivan she matike haGemara. They bring down all halachos that are ever relevant, that are halacha, even if they're not noigeya. Aval haTur v'Shulchan Aruch, but the Torah and the Shulchan Aruch, she'ena matike haGemara. The Torah and the Shulchan Aruch are not just bringing down the halachas of the Gemara, but rather they only bring down what's relevant. Ein darkam havi rak mashu al pi hadin v'noig bizmanenu. Therefore, v'lachein hashmitu davar zeh. Therefore, the Shulchan Aruch leaves it out. So I just want to bring up one added thing. What's the inyan of greeting the Rebbe? Apparently, from the fact that the Rambam brings it down in Hilchos Talmud Torah, that implies it is a halacha of Torah, not a halacha of the Yom Tif. In other words, it's not a mitzvah of oilei regel. It's not one of the chiyuvei hayom tif, but it's the following. The idea is that as the Yom Tovim are called mayadim, Yom Tovim we have special meeting times with the Ribbon Shalom, and the Ribbon Shalom is mashbiah on Klal Yisrael, tremendous shefa. And like the Ran says in the Drashas Haran, the Talmidei Chachamim are the shevil, are the channel of Chachmas HaTorah. And through them, that spills over to all of us. And on Yom Tif, the Rebbe Shalom is mashpia more chachma on the Talmud Chacham, because the Rebbe Shalom is closer to us, and therefore it's a greater opportunity to learn. What do you mean? You say, well, I know it already. No. On Yom Tif, the shefa to the Talmud Chacham is even more, so therefore it creates a chiyuv. It's not a Yom Tif chiyuv. Now, the more possible it is for one to gain in learning, the more your obligation is. So since on Yom Tif, the Torah is being showered down in greater bounty, therefore it's a greater opportunity, and that's the inyan of the mitzvah, which according to Shulchan Aruch does not apply bisman hazeh, but it will apply when the Beis HaMikdash will be built, the mitzvah of Kabbalas Pnei Rabbi B'Moyed. Okay?
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.